Hey everybody, welcome to KM Reviews. I am Niddleman. Today we're talking about a small card game called Couture. Excuse me if I said that incorrectly, I'm not a fashionista. But this is a nice little card game, but I haven't seen any how to play videos on YouTube, so here's how you play. First, to set up, you're going to have 6 starting decks. This game plays 3 to 6 players. Each person's going to be taking on the role of a fashion model as you hit the runways in New York, Paris, and Tokyo. Everyone is essentially one of these people. For example, you could be Claudia. Everyone has the same starting deck. You're going to have a New York Paris card and a Paris Tokyo card, which is going to be able to separate your hand in this game. And everyone has the same starting value cards here. So everyone who's playing is going to pick one, in this case Claudia, and then whoever else is playing will take their decks like so. Then you're going to be setting out your 10 different magazines. Some of these will be distributed during the game, but most of them are going to be end game points. It's just interesting artwork. This is the deluxe version. The base game does come with them as well, but as you can see, they're just a little bit smaller, and the deluxe ones are a little bit more shiny. Either one is fine. You're going to set this up somewhere next to the board. Then, if you have the base game, you're going to set up your New York Paris card and a Paris Tokyo card. Or if you have the deluxe version, you will have these nice big kind of like double layered ones here. You're going to have the New York Paris on the left and the Paris Tokyo on the right. Then, with your deck, you're going to be laying out 3 cards in these 3 columns. So you will have something that looks like this. Then, every round, essentially simultaneously, every player is going to be rearranging the cards in their hand to try to bid on these cards. So anything on the right is going to be bidding for Tokyo, anything in the middle is going to be bidding for Paris, and anything on the left is going to be bidding for New York. Then, simultaneously, everyone is going to reveal what they have. In this particular case, we bid 3 on New York, we bid 3 on Paris, and we bid 1 for Tokyo. Then, regardless of how many players there are, you're going to look and see who has the most in each column. So whoever bid the most on New York gets to take their pick of what card they would like from that column. Whoever has the second most will take their pick, and whoever has third most will take their pick, or essentially just whatever's left. It works the same way in a 3 to a 6 player game, the big difference being if you have more than 3 players, obviously some people may be completely outbid and not be able to take anything. Now, there's a few unique situations that may arise. Number 1, there might be a tie. It's very easy for there to be the same numbers. Maybe somebody else also played a 3 here. In that case, you go to tiebreakers. Tiebreakers on every single bid card has another number there. In this case, whoever has the lowest tiebreaker wins. So if another 3 was played, but they had a 36 there, well, my 35 would break that tiebreaker, making me first, giving me access to pick what card I would like first. If they played multiple cards, for example, here I played a 2 and a 1, your tiebreaker is going to be the smallest number. So in this case, my tiebreaker is a 10. So if they played a 2 and a 1 and their lowest between them was like an 11, well, because I have this 10 here, this would be the tiebreaker. Now, there's also a possible situation where nobody bids for a particular column, because you do not have to bid in every column. I might put this card here because I don't want any of those cards. If nobody bids in a particular column, then nobody gets one of those cards. There also may be a situation where only one person bids for a column, in which case they get all of the cards. Awesome for them sometimes. There might be a situation where 2 people bid for a column, in which case first player will take their pick of a card, second player gets their pick, and then it goes back to the first place winner who will get the second card. Okay, you do this for each column, and you keep doing that until you've run out of all of your cards. It usually is about 7 rounds, and then whoever has the most points wins. Okay, so now let's talk about the different types of cards and why you want to bid for them and why you want to win them. There are 2 types of cards. These 5 here that have the white backgrounds, and then you have the ones with the black backgrounds. The ones with the black backgrounds are all bidding cards, okay? If you ever win these, there's 2 things you have to look for. This symbol here, and this symbol here. If you ever get a card in a bid that has this symbol, it means at the end of that round you can add this card to your hand. No big deal. It's going to have some sort of modifier. It might be a 0, a -1, or something like that. If it has one of these symbols on here, it means when you add it to your hand, you have to discard a card from your hand. So if you add this one to your hand, you can either discard itself or something else from your hand, maybe a 1. Same thing with this one. You add it to your hand, you can discard itself, something else you just added, or something else from your hand. So what does that look like in practice? Let's say the round is over and I won. Let's say I won these 2 cards during the bidding phase, and this was my starting hand, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to add these to our hand. This one I can add no problem, that's just now part of my hand. I'm adding this one now, and I have to discard one. I could discard itself, I could discard this other one I just added, or I could discard something else I already had, okay? And then now this is your new bidding hand for the next round. Now there's a few things to look at when you're taking bidding cards. First of all, these numbers in the upper right, these are points if they're in your hand at the end of the game. Okay, some of them don't have any. Some of them, like these higher bidding cards, are going to have a -2 points at the end of the game. The other thing you're going to want to look at, obviously, is these numbers on the left, as they can be good tie-breaking numbers. So you could add this 0 to another bid to have a possible good tiebreaker. Another thing you're going to want to notice is some of these bid cards have a symbol +2. What that means is, if there's ever a card in the row that you're bidding for that has that symbol, you'll add this 2 to the bid value. So if I used this bid card in a row that had this card in it, this would now be a value of 4. It does not mean you have to take that card, it just means it has to be in the row that you're bidding on. And that's the bidding cards. Next up, we have editorials. I think there's about 4 of these in the deck. These are, whenever you win scoring cards, you don't add them to your hand, you just add them next to yourself on the play area. That'll apply to all of these. These are also going to have points at the top. Editorials, they're all just 2 points. It's just a nice, simple way to get points, nothing fancy. Next, we have these, which are called ready to wear, okay? There are 5 different symbols on here. We have these little W looking things, and I'm not a fashion person. Maybe these are real brands or something. I don't know. Point is though, the ready to wears have this little purse at the top, and there are 5 different possible symbols to get. Why do you want these cards? Because one of the magazine covers at the end of the game scores you points for unique symbols. So if you had all 5 unique symbols at the end of the game, well, that's worth 8 points. If you had 4, it's 6, 3 is 4, 2 is 2, and 1 is 0 actually. So one of these cards on their own is nothing. If you have 2 of the same symbol, that doesn't really matter because it's all about unique symbols. Okay, unique, 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 unique. You want to be unique in the fashion world. So that's the ready to wears and the scoring card for that, or should I say scoring magazine. Next we have, oh god, how do I pronounce this? Couture, hot couture, I believe is what it is. They're all going to either have 1 or 2 of these symbols on there. This is basically a majority collection, okay? At the end of the game, whoever has the most of these in first place is going to get this 7-point card. Whoever has the second most is going to get second place worth 5, and whoever has the third most is going to get third place, which is worth 3. Again, if there is a tie for the most, whoever has a card with the smallest tiebreaker on it will win the tiebreaker for those. So that's haute couture, if that's how you pronounce it. Next, we have streetwear. Okay, these are the ones with the shoes on the top. You'll notice on the back of your little booklet here, it shows you A, B, C, D, or E. All of these are going to have this little shoe with an A, a B, a C, a D, or an E. The reason you want these is because you want similar letters. The very first person to get a match, maybe you got this in one round, and the second round you got this, you got a match, 2 A's. What that's going to do is it's going to give you this first place streetwear magazine, which is worth 5 points. The second person to get a matching pair is going to get second place, worth 3 points, and the third person to do it will get 1 point. Okay, again, it's not just about having matching symbols. If you had these two, this is not a matching pair, even though they're both shoes. It's all about the letters. You want 2 A's or 2 B's or 2 C's, so on and so forth. There is 2 of each letter in the deck. Lastly, we have flops. These are fashion flops. At the end of the game, whoever has the most of these gets this magazine, which is minus 5 points. You had the most fashion flops. I like the artwork on this one. I think it's funny. Whoever has the second most is going to get minus 3 points, and whoever is last is going to get minus 1 point. The slight difference with the tiebreaker here is whoever has the lowest number on the tiebreaker gets to avoid these. So let's say I have 1 flop and that ties for third place with somebody else who has a flop. Mine's a 5 and theirs is a 6. I win, so they would get this because I have the tiebreaker. Tiebreakers are good, so they would end up getting that. You don't want the flops, but sometimes it's inevitable. So then, once everyone has distributed everything, you're going to add up your points. In this case, I would have 7, 8, 9, 10. I only have 1 unique symbol, so 0 points for that. Minus 1 for this, so I'm at 9. And then any cards that have points from your bidding, so 9, 10, 9, 8, 9, 10. I would have a score of 10 in this case at the end of the game. Whoever has the most points wins. Again, if there is a tie, you will go to the tiebreaker. If somebody else had 10 and I had a 5 and they had a 4, they would win. So on and so forth. But that is Couture. I do want to point out, just as a little review type of thing, in terms of the deluxe versus the base game little tokens here, I almost prefer the base game stuff. First of all, the deluxe is not that much bigger. It's the same exact material, okay? It shows the exact same information. But in the base game stuff, you can see more of the artwork. Like, yeah, that's cool, it's shiny, but you're missing out on all the details. Also, things like this. It says first place on this one. In this one, it doesn't. Also, ignore my nasty fingers. I was painting some minis earlier. But yeah, I would say you don't necessarily need the upgrades for this. However, I do think that the New York, Paris, and Paris, Tokyo cardboard tokens are worth it. I just think it's so much nicer than the cards. But I don't know if it's worth it overall. Again, the only thing that makes these nice is that they're a little shiny. However, depending on the lighting, like sometimes the numbers are a lot harder to see as opposed to, let's see if I can find this one. You know, like which one's easier to see here? This one is. It's the shiny is cool, but depending on the lighting, this one's always easily visible. And I play with old people sometimes, and they're always like, you know, what do those numbers say on there? I don't know. Here you go. And they're just easier to see on here. You know, so I just wanted to point that out. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe to see future content. Enjoy.